Well, this looks like it's it. We've almost reached the Haynes Ranch. This is road number 22 we're turning on. And there you get your first glimpse. There's the old homestead. The scenery sure looks nice there. So I guess I'll just park in here. Looks like a good place. This is the old barn. Well, it does look pretty old. Now, this ranch was built by John Haynes in 1861, as far as I've been able to determine. John Haynes, he was born in Ireland in 1831, and he came to Canada in 1858. What you're looking at now is a really beautiful sight. Look at the scenery on that. Now, John Haynes kept a diary over the years, and I was lucky enough to view it. And I can thank my interest in treasure hunting for that privilege. The ranch is located about 10 miles from the U.S.-Canadian border. Now, the ranch reached its peak size in later years. I believe it was 1874. It was stretched out to 35 square miles, approximately. Now, in later years, John had cattle that numbered almost 5,000. That's a big herd. Now, it's interesting to note that John Haynes worked for the RCMP at one time. Now, I was able to find out a couple very interesting facts. The first one is the Haynes Ranch, property, was well known to the world of outlaws. And I've got my interest in treasure hunting to thank for that, because I've seen, I believe it was 3 different times that his ranch was mentioned in 3 different books that I purchased on treasures, lost treasures in British Columbia. Now, whether this means there's lost treasure buried near his ranch or on his property somewhere, I don't know. His property was 35 square miles. That's a huge area to start looking at. But one thing for sure is his property, his ranch, was known to the outlaws of the Pacific Northwest, and especially down in the States, is only 10 miles north of the border. They often made the trip up and eluded the law down there. Right now you're looking at the inside of the barn. I don't know if my camera, how much it's going to show here. It's kind of dark in here, but we'll see when I get the film back and start editing it. There's the stalls for horses. Now, I've noticed that the ranch roof is laid out such that there's spaces between the boards. Now, I don't know if that was common or if that was for a particular reason. Maybe there's someone out there who could fill me in on that part. Now we're looking at the old homestead, and the other one close to it is the bunkhouse. It's very old, back in 1869. It's for being that old, about 150 years. It's still in remarkably good condition. Of course, this is just north of Osoyoos today, and this is like a desert out here. They have very mild winters, but they do get a little bit of snow. Now, the second interesting fact I found out was John had a lawyer draw up a property deed which stated that no part of his land could be sold at any time, either now or in the future. That's very interesting. Because now, what does this mean? His property is surrounded, his property is really small right now, and it's surrounded by orchards and other land claims, and I'm just wondering if all this other stuff is sort of bogus. Does he really still own 35 square miles of land around? Because if he does, all those people that own property there could have a problem in the future. I don't know. Now this is the bunkhouse we're looking at. It's basically 2 rooms. And if you're wondering when I videotaped this, it was in October of 2019. Nice sunny day, quite mild out. Now, near the end of my video, I show this property a few years earlier. I'm trying to figure out how many years earlier it was. I think it was maybe back in the 1970s or 1980s that I acquired pictures of this, pictures that I took. And the place was in much better shape than it is right now. The roof on this end is all caved in. Still sort of not fully caved in, but it's ready to fall. But you sort of have to be out there to really grasp the beauty of it. It's to last that many years. It's a beautiful place. Now I did hear that this was sold. I don't know if it's true, but I heard it was sold, and the new property owner wants to tear that down. That would be a shame. I know if it still goes on, in years in the future here, it's going to totally fall down. But they should somehow try and get the historical society and do some work on this here to make sure that it lasts. There are steps going up to the upstairs there, but there's no upstairs anymore. If you ever get a chance to go out there, I would go. It's just a couple miles off the main road, Highway 3, running through central Okanagan. It's a really scenic place. There's another angle of the bunkhouse, which is sinking at one end. Now from here we're going to go back to some scenery just to the northwest of that, I believe. Now this is looking south. You can see the barn there off to the right and the homestead, the bunkhouse. That's the highway that runs through the area right now. There's that picture of the ranch I was telling you about. It was taken a few years ago. Now look at the scenery here. I mean, I've been in several different places in the States, the American West, and this looks so much like it. It's just very scenic. Brings back a lot of memories for me. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video.